Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final. We never know with these fucking Disney Plus shows, but welcome at least to the season 1 finale of Miss Marvel, the series finale. Who knows? Maybe we'll learn in a couple weeks at Comic Con. Oh, I guess I'm just still the Clown Prince of podcasts, eh? I have multiple nicknames that I'll switch over maybe into spoilers, but I'm joined by
Hammy Dizzle, Kirklin Patzer.
Hammy Dizzle.
I am the big me, little me, Dylan Muss.
I am the Red Dagger Taylor Field.
The Red Dagger. Hey, you like the character that enough to have it as the nickname, eh?
Prince of Persia inspired character.
Mm.
Those are
Yeah,
the
I
vibes
got
get from
big Ubisoft vibes from that. So.
That explains the
the
quality
logo
of the
is
show.
tattooed on his arm. Yeah.
All right, and Dylan, are you gonna bring back Big Me, Little Me when we get Ant-Man 3?
I might actually, if I still remember that, which I probably
Yeah.
won't, but who knows?
try and
Never
make
change
sure-
your name. Just
Yeah,
keep it
just
Big Me, Little
Big Me, Little
Yeah.
Me. I'll try and get it out there. But yeah, we got tons of content going on. If you like the MCU, as we talked about before, we did a nearly 3-hour review of Thor: Love and Thunder. We'll be back in August when She-Hulk's going off. That's the one that's going to the midnight ones, and Andor will be the Wednesday after. And yeah, we got the Comic-Con. That's the biggest thing. Comic-Con is next week for as far as the Marvel side. You got a Marvel MCU panel. Of course, we're going to cover the DC panel as well, but then the MCU live action panel. Tons of stuff going on. Side quest. Me, Dylan, and Jessica just did a newscast. We got retros. We're recording a lot of retros this week, so watch the feeds. You're going to have Hobbits, Predators, Foxes, tons of stuff coming your way. All GeekVerse. Hey, where can they find all the things?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Yeah, everything you need to know is in the links below. Video, audio, the Discord, everything. Where to review, where to find our podcast network, where to find our solo feeds, and most importantly, the Patreon. Because not only if you support us, you get ad-free, early, exclusive episodes. You can join after 9, which is happening this Saturday. I think it's the 16th at 10 a.m. PST. That's where you get to call in and talk to us and talk to every listeners. We always have a good old time. And then you get I already said that. You get 3 exclusive episodes every month. And then plus, the more you support, the more you get back in the show. You're paying for those retros, you're paying for those extra newscasts, all those, everything you put in comes back. So yeah, we're at the finale of Miss Marvel. As usual, we're gonna do non-spoilers, and then we'll get into spoilers. And you know what, I'm actually gonna start because I feel like from the beginning I may have been the most down on the show, and I still thought like the first 2 episodes were like solid. Just thought, okay, there's maybe some stuff like I'm not in love with it because there is like a kiddie aspect to it. I will say after the last 2 weeks where we had some all over the rate from meh to pretty badness, I thought this was a good finale. I don't think this was a good finale to kick it up a bunch in my MC rankings, not like that, but I think this was not a kind of garbage fire like I thought it was going to be. There's some stuff, classic Disney Plus finale, it's rushed. I feel there's tons of stuff that's rushed with her family and her friends, and I think the finale of this is kind of what I wish the whole show was. You know, I think there's some things they brought back from the first 2 episodes, and it shows because the directors of the pilot are the directors of this, they're directing Batgirl. So at least the things I liked more are the episodes they directed, so that gets me more excited again for Batgirl. But yeah, I kind of watched this, and even if it wasn't a strong finale, it's like I was just like, man, I wish 3, not 3 so much, I guess 3 worked, but 4 and 5 were a lot more of this, you know. So I thought it was a good finale. There's tons of predictable stuff. I think there's things that we talked about last week. We would be like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. It all happened, and it was all very predictable, and there wasn't much stakes. But yeah, so I this was at least better than the last few weeks. I wonder if there's a way I could watch the show and watch the show 1, 2, 3, and then jump to the finale. I don't know if that works, but I'm going to try it one time because I don't think I need 4 and 5. And it feels like, other than one character in particular, that's completely useless to the plot that we have as of right now and what closed out. So still, as far as the shows, I probably would put this still the weakest because those 2 episodes, especially last week, were very bad. Before it was Hawkeye, but I would put this as the weakest. A combo of very weak episodes and some stuff that just wasn't for me. There's still stuff in this episode that feels very Home Alone-ish, you know, and that's fine, but that's not stuff I'm going to be drawn to. Like I said, it feels very CW-ish, but I thought it was a good finale. One of the better finales that Disney Plus has had, just unfortunately, it was kind of trying to save, to me, not a sinking ship, but a ship with a lot of holes in it. So that was my thoughts on the Miss Marvel finale. Who wants to take it from me? No one.
I'll jump
That's
in
it.
there.
End of the episode.
I'll jump in there. Yeah, I think for me going into this last episode, I was just so low on the last 2 episodes, and even I didn't really like 3 all that much either, that I felt like it would be pretty hard for them to salvage it in any way. And I agree to an extent that I think this episode is absolutely better than 4 and 5. For me, it'd be kind of maybe on par with 3. I don't know, maybe a little bit better or something. But I still don't feel like there was anything in here either that got me too jazzed. Like if I was watching this and not doing a review of it, I probably would have skipped through about 80% of the episode. I think I'd probably keep skimming through to get to like the plot stuff that happens at the very end, like the conclusion stuff, because there is like an extended action sequence that I don't care for at all in this episode, and I think there's a lot of just really bad CGI throughout. And yeah, so there is some interesting stuff here at near the end that I'm excited to talk about and break down what we think that means exactly. But overall, I think this is for me easily the weakest Marvel show. This episode couldn't really salvage it for me, and I think everything that happened here was kind of expected too. So I almost feel like I didn't need. Like I'm seeing it on screen, but like from last episode, it's like, well, we kind of know where this is going to go anyway. So I guess maybe there actually is a couple characters that we're kind of set up for potentially doing something in the future, and I don't know when that will happen, if it ever happens. So we can talk about that too. But yeah, I really bummed with the trajectory of this show. And yeah, I guess it's kind of dinged my hype a bit for dinged. What word am I looking for? It's late at night. My excitement for the Marvels a bit, but I'll see a trailer and whatnot, and if that changes things. But yeah, I guess that's where I'm at here, feeling. I don't know. Just I was deflated for the last 2 weeks. So I don't even know what I am anymore. I've just been laying on the ground like dead for a couple weeks. So
Deflated, wacky waving, inflatable arm floating 2 men. You're not.
Yeah.
You're not inflated though.
Yeah, I will say to what you said, Dylan. It feels like of course we didn't do this, but it feels like we read the leak for the finale, or like we had the script beforehand, and then we just saw what was filmed. That's what this finale felt like. I feel like we kind of could have sat together for an hour and a half, and if you said, "Okay, Geek First, you're going to try and write the finale of what you've gone so far," I would have wrote maybe other than one line in particular that we got. I pretty much would have wrote all of this stuff.
There's like one character I wouldn't have seen coming, but that character also feels like he very well may never exist again in this MCU, and so it's like it doesn't know if it really even matters at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go next. I feel like yeah, for the most part, I do agree this is a solid finale for what this show was. I think for the show, like the series in general, it started so high for me. I was on peak of Mount Everest there. I was riding so high. I'm like, man, this is the best. This is the best Disney Plus show ever. Like, pardon me, this is like fantastic. I was riding such a high, and then it was like I don't know, drop down a step, and then those last 2 episodes they left me in the gully somewhere with no water or anything. Like I was so like Dylan. I was deflated. I was so upset too because I was riding such a high. I really liked like those first 3 episodes, and then the last 2 just really it was bumming. But this one I will say I feel like because without speaking too many spoiler things, like it brought some stuff back from those earlier episodes. So it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember this sort of thing going on. So I'm just trying to navigate spoilers here. But anyways, it showed me some of that stuff, and yeah, completely what you guys said, like the predictability of it was definitely there. It wasn't something that blew my mind, but I feel like for this type of show, you don't need that. And not everything has to be end of the world crises, especially for the finales. But yeah, I think I have a couple like notes too I'll get into in spoilers on why I actually think this could have been like a really good movie, honestly, like over a TV series. I think it could have been better, but it's interesting because technically it would have been shorter screen time, right? As opposed to a 6 episode. Like most of these episodes were about an hour, 50 minutes, I think 43 minutes, something like that. So, but I don't know. There was just some messy things pace-wise that I think could have been held better in a movie, but who knows? Maybe that would have been worse. But yeah, I'll pass it along there.
I think there's probably a solid 2-hour movie in there, because you got to think about credits, and there's some stuff you could definitely easily cut out. So I think that's warranted. Taylorfield, the Red Dagger.
The Red Dagger. Yeah, those, again, first few episodes, I was really into it. I was enjoying the build-up and everything, that slow brew that we were getting to in the development of these characters. And it just felt like they flipped the cup upside down and poured the coffee all over the fucking counter when we got to that like fourth, fifth episode. I was like, what's going on? Like, we're just like,
I like that
1
it's
to
still
100.
brewed really well. Like the brewing wasn't the problem. It was the person whoever was giving the coffee.
Latte
just-
Walmart,
They
and
thought
it
they
was
were
all
like
perfect.
DK or Dairy
Donkey
Queen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thought they were a Dairy Queen, thought it was a blizzard, and just dumped it upside down to see. But
Here you go. I gotta do this.
Yeah.
The dump chest.
but
Please don't do that. Sir.
And I think that's a shame. It's definitely, of all the shows, it's down there for me, and I hate to say that.
it's
I
down there.
It's down there. I hate to say that because I wanted to really, enjoy this show after those first few episodes because we're really getting into it, and it was a exhilarating ride. But it's just, this episode, all in all, was a good kind of bounce back to what we were familiar with, at least what I was excited about in those first few episodes. There's some things that were questionable, and I thought, well, this is just, again, rushed and a little messy and convenient at times, very, very convenient with certain things. And I get it, but I only get it because of how they did episodes 4 and 5 to lead us into this. And I don't like that I get it because of that. I want to get it because it was written really, really well, and they had the consistent flow throughout each episode building up to this finale of this series. So, yeah, that's kind of where I stand on it.
All right. Well, if you've not seen it, which I'm sure you have, but if you've not, you can go back, watch it, and come here. Or if you don't care, we're about to get into spoilers. We're going to take our first ad break, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So here we are, Miss Marvel. God, where do we want to start? And don't say
In
the
the
beginning.
beginning.
Don't say the beginning. Like
Somebody else take us away.
How about like right at the end when she got her name?
I know. Okay, that right at the end.
Not
Well,
not that and yeah, the name
There's-
part. I
because
feel
there's
like
two
that
ends.
was way too convenient.
Well, you want to talk about convenient. Now, I think this is where this is what's so funny because I'm saying it goes, oh, it's kind of CW, it's kind of kiddie, but like what I would have wanted more of how this episode you talk about convenient. You get the name with the dad, and your name means you're a Marvel. You always just been a Marvel. We didn't think we'd have a second child. Okay, I'll buy that. That's fine. But between that and the beginning of the episode, the stuff with the parents, I wish that was slower, and that was just so quick with the family. Like, guess what? She has a secret. Oh, she's a hero. And then it's like he gives 2 lines of like, don't go looking for trouble, but then they're just completely fine. And I'm fine if we got to that point of them being fine with it, because we've seen that trope so many times of the parent, the Aunt May, whoever, telling them don't do this, don't be a hero, stuff like that. But I still want to see that development from the parents. And I felt, again, because we spent those 2 episodes in Pakistan, if we would take those out and just kept the whole show at Jersey City, what we talked about in the first episode when we're like, oh, maybe Damage Control will just be the villain and it's just going to be her in Jersey City. Boy, oh boy, do I wish that was the show, especially because Damage Control ended up being the main villains at the end of it. So it's like the fact that we got there. But yeah, the parent stuff, it's tough because I liked it all, but it was just felt very rushed and, like Taylor already said, very convenient and just easy.
Imagine if we got 2 more episodes of family stuff, not messing
Yes.
around in Pakistan. And I feel like also I'm kind of torn because the Pakistan stuff, like there is some gold, in that vast desert of like where we were in those episodes, because like I don't know, the cultural significance and maybe just like explaining more about the Bengal and like more of her family stuff, like that is important to the character. But I think just the way it was done, it was just like plotted in the middle of this show that it seemed like it already had a show, and then they just threw in this like Pakistan section, and it just felt very disjointed for me personally. Like I felt like, again, tying into why I think this could have been better as a movie, is like you could have had those like fun school moments in the beginning and then had a journey to Pakistan, and it wouldn't have felt like so disjointed because you only have limited time like in each episode. So like some other side characters, like stories, they kind of just got thrown under the rug and completely forgot about. I'll bring those up when we talk about them. But yeah, like in this 6 episode show, those 2 Pakistan episodes just it really felt like it just like killed the momentum for where we were going in like what those earlier episodes set up, if that makes any sense. But also like also like the family stuff, like all the family stuff was so great, and then we just didn't have like half of the family members, and even some of the characters from the mosque, right? Like that Sheik guy, like I was loving him, and then I just didn't get him for like 2 episodes. So very, very upsetting looking back on it. I wish those just weren't in it. If I could make one thing to change in the show.
Plus, that would have been nice if I don't know what the deal is, but if they announced this show gets a season 2, I feel like you could have saved majority of that stuff, the discount terms. Like I know Taylor, it seems like Red Dagger, but like you didn't actually need to introduce that character. Like for the amount of screen time they're in, you could just take that out. So if we get a season 2, you could have just saved it for that. But who knows? Maybe they're not doing season 2 for budgets or something.
Yeah, the I agree with the idea that like the parent storyline here and them being okay with it is very rushed. Like she's like flipping cars and stuff, and they're like, "Woo!" They're like popping off in the crowd. It just
Your
felt
daughter could
very
die
cheesy.
at any moment.
Yeah, like the Strikers fans, basically.
Yeah.
She
foaming
could
at the
be
mouth.
shot down. Like did you not see?
You're not
Infinity
gonna be
War
like that,
Endgame?
Travis. Your kid is grabbing cars, and
I don't
these
think
cops
day one
are shooting her.
because you don't know how well she has control the powers. You know how well she's done this. So if she's out there day one, I'm gonna be nervous, to be honest, the whole time,
Yeah.
and just feels like again Miss Marvel 5 years from now. Then I get, but this is day one for some of the families that found out, and like Dan said, they're cheering. It's just like I don't feel right about this. It feels like no reality.
The last time they had seen her powers, or at least her dad had seen her powers, she like fucked up with that kid and like dropped him and broke his leg. And I think that was like the last time he had seen her powers. So I don't know. It's quite the. I know she's been away for a few days. Maybe she expects that she's gonna be in a better shape or something like that to fight, but still seemed a bit weird. As for the of course the getting her name line, I think it was just like a bit too cheesy for me. It's one of those things where I feel like any writing of shows like this, like there's probably a lot of iteration in the process, right? Where you're writing through the whole thing, and then you get your rating like the 6th episode, and then you got to go back because like things you wrote in the first episode maybe don't line up, and you're going through this process, and it seems like they just didn't have the time or budget, whatever it was, to iterate on some of the writing. Like the writing really stood out in this episode for me, just from all the characters pretty much. And that was one thing too, where I like the idea of her name meaning this one thing, and then like drawing a parallel to this other word, and then coming up with a name. But the way it just played out in the scene between these two characters, I love the chemistry they have. It just didn't really work for me. Unfortunately, it was a bit too cheesy.
Yeah. Kirkland, you got anything to add on that more?
Honestly, like the getting the name thing, that worked for me. Especially because it was just like tied to like her name, and then it was the dad that gave it to her. I really loved the dad throughout the entire show, so it helped that he was the one like doing that. It's not like she just saw it on like a, I don't know, pizza coupon. Like Marvel, it's like, oh, this is Miss Marvel. Like that would have, oh my gosh, I would have really not like that. So this is a little bit, I don't know, more close to home for her. Like
Personal.
Yeah, exactly. So it worked for me. I knew it was coming at some point in the episode, and then when they're up on the roof together, I'm like, oh, this is it. Carol Danvers is gonna show up. She's gonna tell her, you're called Miss Marvel now. That didn't happen exactly, but the dad gave it to her, and it worked for me.
The one that I was more iffy on, because I think the name for me worked enough, was the costume, because that just felt like, man, we had no way to introduce this. Mom just walks up, I got you something, puts a box in and again, this is the thing. Amon, she's a great actress, and she sold that moment. She always sells these moments. So again, I'm very excited to see her in future stuff. If she can do some of these scenes with the very poor writing, even the middle of the stuff with Kamran, which is like very generic and very bad. She's like emotional. She's like almost tearing up. Like I think she did a great job, but this costume, like, how long have they been back? Like, how did she get this all together? And again, I can suspend disbelief. It's a comic show, but it just felt very out of the blue. Like,
really
just,
fucking nice costume.
Oh,
yeah.
even they
Stark
touch
Tech.
like, yeah, the logo feels like a little bit metal. It's just like, what are you doing in your spare time? Like that to me felt a bit more egregious than the name was just, I got your costume here. And the funny thing is, she has this costume, and we've seen from set photos for the Marvel, she's not even wearing this costume. So she wore this for like a total of 20-25 minutes in the show overall, and the next time we see it's gonna be something new, so it's just funny.
Yeah, that one definitely stood out for me for like, okay, eye rolly. Like, let's just, I guess I don't need an explanation for this. And then the other one that I had that feeling with too was when she called the Red Dagger man to,
Red Dagger
get-
man.
It's late, okay? Go easy on me.
That's
To-
what she has him in her phone as. That's her contact. Red Dagger man, not boy.
She doesn't remember his name either.
Red Dagger man.
Like she's calling him to get Kamran like out of the country or whatever, and it's just like, I got a guy, don't worry. It's like, okay, and like the phone call was like 12 seconds long, and like that was just the end of the scene. I was just like, oh, okay, like again, I get it. It's a Marvel TV show. Like sometimes that happens, but it just really, I don't know. It really stood out for me. For I feel like something that I wouldn't normally be able to just hand wave, but it really stood out.
And again, I'm also not trying to be fucking rain on the parade, nitpicky shit McGee, but like when they do the costume thing right before that, she was told Bruno and Cameron are missing and they're on the run like lots of, and she's like frantically, I gotta get to, and then she's like, no, wait, like here's costume. She takes time, oh my god, look at this costume, and she hugs her mom. They're having this emotional moment out there. Bruno, Cameron, they could be getting fucked up by damage control right now. This is not the time. The costume doesn't even matter right now. You don't need it. Doesn't enhance your powers at all you need is a mask. All you really need was
it enhanced her powers, all right. She put that on. You see her go supernova in this episode. It's all thanks to her mom's costume.
I don't maybe, but like her mom could have just given her a toque. Like I hated that it seemed so frantic that she had to go find her friends, but she paused for this big moment with her mom. It's like, man, imagine in that time if they died. Like, oh, when did this happen? Oh, when you were and I were like trying on the costume and everything, and yeah, I couldn't get to them in time.
That's like another example for me where I feel like there's so many good little scenes, but they're just placed in the wrong spots.
Yes.
Where it just feels so messy when you look back and analyze certain scenes. Like I we talked about that a couple episodes ago already, where it just felt very weird. I think the one that I had, for example, was when the mom. Oh no, I'm not even gonna try. I don't remember what episode it was. It's late. Somebody else take it away.
I was just gonna say though, it just cuts the tension when you have a character told like you need to get here right now, and then they can take a quick breather and not get there right now. You know, because then it's like, why should I believe Kamran and Bruno are in any danger? Because Miss Marvel can sit around. Why can't I? And even then, they did get around. That's where I felt it was pretty Home Alone, and it was fine because we were getting some of those edits back in the middle of like themselves like transitioning into the drawings and stuff, and it was a bit more like cartoony comic book. He's like, okay, this is cool, that was good. But again, like they're using their like hat disguises, they're using like they're shooting. These guys have fully automatic weapons, and they're just shooting like softballs at it. Just it felt like Harry and Marv, and that's where I think, okay, this show sometimes is a bit too kiddie, and you know that's fine. That it's out there for somebody, but that middle portion, I was mixed. I was liking the style of it, but when it was the kids versus damage control, I don't know. It was fine for me.
That scene with the damage control coming to the school and stuff, like I like the whole setup of them talking about the plan and everything, but like it just bothers me in these moments when this is very serious life or death situation, and you see how much detail they spent on that chalkboard map. Like, fuck, that's at least like 2 hours worth of illustration.
They had so
work.
much time.
Oh
to set
yeah,
up. It was
like
crazy.
Are you kidding me? Like, oh, I get that there was a whole like drama dilemma that came out of nowhere. Like, oh, you can't go in there for damage control. You can't go in there because it's a school, public, all that jazz, whatever.
He's a good guy, damage control.
He's a good
now.
guy now. Yeah, all of a sudden. So, and then she becomes the bad guy, and yeah, they wait, and then they go in. It was just choppy.
She's always been the bad guy. Right when we met her, she was like giving some really like racist undertones.
Well,
you know,
they
so.
had her doing that again here when she goes into Moss. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's like her only character trait is that she's racist. It's like, that's not the best you got. Marvel is pretty.
And they don't dive
uninteresting.
into it really. It's just like
No, they
low
don't.
key. Like she just doesn't.
No one ever like calls her out on it or anything. Like she just
It's
free
like
reign
I know
to be a racist.
I know you're damage control, but why are you just like, are you Latinx? Like why are you asking these questions? Like it was an odd choice, and even as an actor, it's like, I know you're in the Marvel universe, but do you want this character where
I know, right?
your only attribute is you go against other damage control and you're subtly racist. You're subtly racist, and it's just like it doesn't get really addressed. Like again, which a man fucking speaking a year ago talking about Falcon Winter Soldier, that just feels like A+ tier Marvel compared to this. But you got that speech in Falcon Winter Soldier where they're talking about race the whole show, but then it comes to a head where you got Sam as Captain America talking about race and talking about all these things, and that's the finale of the show. That's the big climactic battle, is him with the press talking about what needs to change, and you just have this lady who, again, I don't think they even needed that. They should just made her she wants a promotion, she just wants to catch these kids, but I don't know, I guess it was just for us to dislike her, but I just disliked her because there was nothing interesting about this character. She was generic, bad guy number 2, and yeah, damage controller guy has a heart, I guess.
Do we see her ever again, do you think? Main villain of the
Yeah.
Marvels?
Well,
God.
no, don't do
No.
that to me. No.
I think she's gone. I think they tried to set it up so that she was so bad of a person that the other shitty cop was like Yeah, get rid of her. Like, she's out of here. I think they're trying to redeem him a bit, right, by making
Yes.
him be the one who gets rid of her. So she's gone for good, and then you'll see him again. And I don't know what the fuck his
What's the
story
plans
is
for
going to
him?
be in
Jeez.
his third project, but he's coming back at some point,
His,
inevitably.
oh, you saying third project just sounds sad. I have nothing against that actor, but just like that character, another project.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he'll be another just like Coulson type. Like he'll
Mm-hmm.
put like line A. to
10
line B.
Rings. He'll be in the 10 Rings show somehow.
He could be in that. If there's a Miss Marvel 2, he'll be in that. If he's God, if there's a Young Avengers, I feel like he's gonna for sure be in that. Of like, I gotta control
Nick
these
Fury.
kids.
Yeah.
But don't know. Let's not do that. I'd rather him be an antagonist. He's Nick Fury. Oh,
Maybe Black
no.
Panther too. Maybe that's where he'll make his appearance.
Doing what?
Just shows up at Wakanda.
Just the Nick Fury of the.
Damage control. Oh, you know.
Damage control. Yeah, you guys.
I hear you have no king. Yeah, what's going on here? T'Challa didn't let these fucking gutters get clogged up. What's going on? They're like, aren't you like New York?
God.
What's going on here? He's like, oh, I'm just on a trip.
Jersey City, man.
Man, now I know when we see him, we're all just gonna have a geek first moment. I'm just like, oh no, and I don't even.
Oh, this guy again.
Yeah.
I honestly will forget about him. I promise you that. You'll see him again. You'll bring this up. I'll be like, who? Who?
100%. Yeah.
To bring, I'm curious what you guys thought about this scene where this is like that same part when they're outside the school and Kamran and Kamala are just throwing powers all over the place. Eventually, they go into like a one of those like Groot kind of bubble sort of thing, and they're having a conversation. And then she like makes a hole in the ground, and that like teleports him to like the other side. I know she says you're going to the doctor or
Hell
whatever, but it's still, from my perspective, she just made like a teleporting hole that like goes through the earth.
Mephisto just grabs Kamran.
Miss Marvel just executes this guy in front of the press, like New York has a new hero now.
I wondered if that was going to be like the people's reactions, like, did you kill that guy? Like, that's kind of fucked up. But I'm curious what you guys thought about the dialogue there. Travis, you mentioned that like you thought her performance even in that moment was good. I honestly didn't. I think for me, it's like the writing was just so off that I couldn't even believe Iman, who I think has done a great job for the most part. But I even think last episode I mentioned how I feel like even she couldn't bring it up in that way. So, but the dialogue from her just, to me, it seemed like absolutely not in line with the character we've seen at all to this point, and the way she talks and all this stuff. She has like that classic line of like, it's not about what you did, it's about what you do with the rest of your time, like that kind of Gandalf line, you know? I don't know. It seemed really weird to me, very jarring, and I just, if you look at the character that she was in episode 1 to 6, I know that you want her to be a character that develops, but I feel like, to me, she just lost all the fun personality that she had along the way, and I don't even know how it happened. It just seems like she's just spewing out generic one-liners now instead of having like the fun personality she was by episode 1. But what did you guys think of that scene in particular?
Well, I don't know if I'd expect her to have the fun personality there, though, right? Because this is like, you know, bad stuff's going down. Conrad's maybe getting killed.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I get she still has a bit of it, I suppose, in that chalkboard scene that Taylor mentioned. I just think the budget was so bad there that scene didn't work for me either. But
yeah, what do you guys think about the bubble?
Yeah, like in terms of her specific like dialogue in that scene, it didn't really stand out to me too much. But honestly, that was the portion of the episode I happened to just kind of be dozing. I had to rewind a little bit. It was just not working for me. The best,
Kirklin
but
was seeing the to hell moment in his mind when he woke
the
up.
flashing lights were just putting me in a daze. But I was gonna mention like later on when Nakia. Is that her name? I hope. Yeah, it sounded weird when I said it, but when she finally like interacts with Kamala, being like, you know, she's all pissed off at her for not telling her about her superpowers and all these things, and this was the moment that I was waiting for. You know, like when they had that one line, it's like, I'll talk to you later, and then they go to Pakistan for 2 episodes, and that didn't happen. So I was
It was
ready,
in a text convo. We didn't get to see it.
I was ready for this big moment, and then honestly, for me, that was probably the worst writing of the entire series for me. It was so strange. I understand they're high school girls that are just, they don't really know how to like handle this fight like the cleanest maybe, but it just seemed so weird. Like it was again a high stress environment. Like they don't have much time to say anything, and they just like pause and don't really get anything out, and like it for me it just felt really strange. And then next thing you know, you have Bruno just like, guys, we got to do this, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that's it? Like, I literally got nothing there. And I know they say a couple more things there, but that was really jarring for me, similar to like what you're mentioning, Dylan, with the group bubble scene. But like with that, it was a head scratcher when that when that hole went in. I was expecting a mole man to pop out or something, a new villain, the Incredibles
Underminer.
villains, yeah, the Underminers. But it was weird. I hope that's just sticks around, like this super Looney Toony like move that she has. Like, it just like
The whole.
where do you
I gotta
go?
move to get us out of this.
Yeah, I gotta go to Japan. She's like, boom, right there. She's like, hold on, I gotta calibrate. Boom.
That's
Goes
how
right
they've
there
been
to it.
fast traveling this whole series.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
fucking holes. That's
Hold
why
on,
I was
Mom.
worried when she called up.
Oh my god,
Red.
the Red Dagger guy. I had the
Yeah.
exact same thought, Dylan.
I thought that when she called him up that he was going to teleport and be in New York, and I was going to be so salty about it.
I'll
so
be right there.
I'm glad I'll give them a thumbs up for that, for not giving him those crazy teleporting powers as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on the whole?
When that
group
orb popped up, I thought, okay, this is kind of cool. She's using her powers to like contain him, like kind of like a prison thing. I'm digging this.
Ooh.
And then when she like smacked the ground, I was like, what's going on? And then this fucking hole appears, and I start laughing out loud.
It's a black hole too. It's literally a
fuck.
black hole, like Event Horizon.
It is. I didn't know what was going on because she's like, you got to get to the docks, and I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna do a distraction. He's gonna book it down the alleyway. No, this fucking hole appears, and then we get this panned out shot of the bubble fading away, and there fucking Kamran is. His head's going down the fucking hole, and I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, what a fucking joke! Like,
Imagine
you
if it
really
was a
trust where
trick.
this hole goes? Yeah. How
He
how is
looks
this
up
hole
and she's
going
just
to the
throwing the
docks?
concrete back on him. You just
This
hear
is the first time she's
screams
done this party trick. We have not seen her do this before. Who knows where that's going?
Yeah, it's just
You just
fucking
hear the screams of
cracked me
Conron
up.
in Jersey.
You
City
wouldn't.
for
I mean,
weeks.
he's just buried under the concrete pavement. So I mean,
His
just
ghost,
die
his
down there.
ghost.
But yeah, it's just
How does
absolutely
he get out of the pit
ridiculous.
afterwards too? Like,
Well,
does he just-
apparently, so near the docks, these sailors are gonna look up like, "What the fuck's this hole just randomly opening up here?" And then fucking
We just
Kamran
filled
comes crawling
this.
out. Yeah,
And then they'll be like, "Well, we better take this guy to Pakistan, I guess. Like, let's just go over there
this must
right
be the
now."
guy. This our Red
yeah,
Dagger
this
guy.
is the guy. He came out of the hole here.
Yeah. Kamal told us specifically when a guy comes out of the hole, that's your dude. I don't have much to add on the hole. It was fucking weird, but that's a cool power she must have worked on. Yeah, I thought I still liked her performance. I think she was raising the bad dialogue. Okay, I won't say the raising even. I just say that she was a good actress saying bad dialogue, and there wasn't much you could do. I think my problem was in the span of the 3 to 5 minutes, they just kept going back and forth with Conran and her working together. No, Conran's bad. No, they were back to working
Yeah.
together. No, they're bad. Like, just pick it. Once he turns, make him fully turn. I know he's like this emotional, misunderstood teen, but still, it just felt like there's a moment where he goes there. She says something like, no, like, this isn't the way to do things. And it's kind of okay. And the second he has a chance to like take out damage control guy, he's like, fuck this guy. And he does it. And Miss Marvel stops him. And you're like, okay. And then more guys come and they like hit them out of the windows and then like jump down together. But then they like turn and just start fighting. I just thought they just sort of stuck in one lane. And we talked about this last week. We knew the only reason they were hinting at Conran having this big power and explosions because he was going to be a guy that couldn't control his powers or feelings, and they were going to fight. And that's exactly what happened. I thought the effects for the most part were fine with these ones. I think sometimes the green one more stood out and looked a little wonky. So it wasn't the smoothest, but it wasn't the worst. I've seen lots worse, either the log truck or what we saw last week. So the Conran stuff was just unpredictable. The second they go, hey, don't say shit about his mom. Okay, in 10 minutes, this dude's going to find out about his mom, and he's going to be real upset about it. So, yeah, again, just rush and stuff that wasn't really needed because she didn't take him out. She didn't kill him. She still ended up sending him away. So I wish they didn't even do that. I wish it was just them against damage control. And when he learned about his mom, maybe you could have had a good character moment for him of him realizing, yeah, like I know she was on a bad path and stuff, but we had to have this 5-10 minute scene. What's funny about her being on a bad path?
That would have been the right way to develop his character, but no, he got demonized and went out and was ready to just start spearing these innocent soldiers and
Oh yeah,
was
if
saving them.
Kabal wasn't there, like, even though she helped him, he was ready to commit multiple murders, and it just is glossed over, like, oh, I'll miss you and see you later, and even the stuff connecting with them and Bruno and they did the whole they were gonna kiss, and then Bruno saw them, and it was weird because. Again,
Bruno got his fucking ass kicked following. Oh my god.
Oh,
Shut
that
up,
guy
yeah.
came
He
in
got
with a
fucking
gun,
decked,
fucking
yeah.
dropped him.
The sound effect too
Oh.
was brutal. I couldn't believe that happened. Sorry.
That
to
guy was
interject
subtly
there, but
racist
my
against
gosh.
white people. The way he hit him, like he was just
He
like
had a lot of
literally.
pent-up rage.
Did you see
He had a
Bruno
lot of
dancing to
pent-up
that
rage.
music? He's like, "You racist fuck!" Boom.
Well, not a line
Jesus
from the
Christ.
show. Not a
I
line from
don't
the
remember
show.
that one.
Yeah.
So many F-bombs in this Marvel that kind
Yeah,
of show.
the finale, they just went all out.
Kid
But-
show, yeah.
oh yeah,
If I
no,
were
just
Bruno, I would be so pissed. So I'm working my ass off, like risking my life, my career at Caltech to like help them out. And I walk around the corner and they're just like making out on the floor. Like, come on, you are the ones with superpowers. How about you fucking help out?
we could die or get caught any moment, and you're about to kiss. And then what's weird is you're about to kiss, and then 2 minutes later, this guy's an asshole, and it seems like she completely has regretted this. Like I should have never, like it just seemed like all those feelings were gone. It was strange. That's why the show sometimes feels like it forgot the first 2 episodes. They clearly were setting up that Bruno liked her, had a crush on her. They did not refer back to that at all. At all. Even the moment when he saw the kiss, I thought there was going to be a moment where he felt more upset about it. He didn't really. It was just like, you guys got to get out of here. It just felt like it was, I wish, like there could have been a little more. And he says, thanks, Bruno. And he looks like, yeah, like that's the way. So I guess maybe it's him just accepting that they're not going to be together. But I wish there was a scene of them talking or something. I don't know. Very strange.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was there not a moment in this episode when Bruno like put something in her locker and it was just never referred to?
Yeah,
ever
there's a
again?
little letter.
Okay, so
They
maybe
just
it's like a
don't
Dear
talk about
John
it
letter.
ever.
Or not Dear John letter. That'd be him leaving. Maybe he is leaving. He's like, fuck you.
He's
I
going to
tried to
war.
save
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to join damage control.
Yeah. Can you make a hole for me?
There was that scene where she got back and found Bruno, and she just kind of had like this huge like embrace when she saw him, like relieved that he was alive. And I feel like that was enough of a scene where it's like, oh, okay, maybe they're gonna kind of like rekindle their old flame or something like that.
But then 3 minutes later, she's trying to make out with
yeah,
Conrad.
she had fucking Marvel hands going on there.
Ooh,
with
Marvel
the-
hands.
I was wondering what you were doing with that.
Yeah,
He had
yeah,
something in
yeah.
his hand.
Another thing too is
careful.
like Kamran, obviously he leaves, and then they just like, I guess, take it on themselves that they're just going to take his car, which
Yeah.
I'm curious on the legality of that. But also,
how does that work?
why does she need a fucking car when she's like running around the city? I feel like the least she can do is like, yeah, man, you can take this car after all we've been through.
Poor
I
Bruno.
felt like that was maybe a bit savage on her part when she can fly around the city essentially.
Even her friend who she lied to, she's like, I can
She
take
also
the
sucks
car.
at driving, so it's like you should probably not be behind a wheel.
Well, I don't even know if she's a license. Remember, she failed that first test, so we don't know
That's
if
true.
she's driving. But yeah, even her friend that she was, kind of lied to, she still takes the car from them. She's very much like, no, this is my car. Me and Kamran are about to get married, and yeah, the legality. I don't know how does that work, insurance wise, all that stuff. You can't just take a dude's car.
That car was definitely not insured before.
yeah, I agree.
It's stolen.
That's-
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
fair. She can put it in her little hole there and just like hide it and put the rubble there. So
I hope
let's take
that's
an
her
ad
go-to ability going forward. Honestly, just hole in the ground.
Oh, well, that's what
When they
Bruno was
finally
putting
fight
into the locker.
Dr.
Is the
Doom.
pink slip.
the
pink slip for the car, yeah.
There you go.
There you
Like,
go.
oh, what? I'm like, really? Because usually a pink slip is like he's quitting. That's what he's like. I'm quitting this friendship. I'm quitting. Or usually means you're fired.
This is the
so.
Dear John letter.
You want this car? Well, no more friends then. We're not
Yeah.
friends anymore.
Like, is he illiterate? Is he speaking like Travis Snell over here?
No more friends.
It sounds like she's gonna turn around and Bruno has a gauntlet. And she's like, "No more friends," and he just like snaps him away,
Snaps all friends out of
and
it.
he disappears himself. Okay, I've been trying to throw it. Let's get to the second ad break, and we'll be right back. Oh boy. Okay, we're back. So we talk anything else on Kamran to end off. He escaped. He's gone. He's with Red Dagger, who I guess could be interesting because he's like his people hate my people and all this stuff. But I feel like this one we say it's about a lot of Disney Plus shows like this set up a season 2. I feel like this really set up a season 2 with certain characters because I don't know if I'd be much interested in this show if it's these characters without Ms. Marvel. Like if they do some sort of spin-off, I don't need that. So I feel like they're not going to announce it yet, but maybe after the Marvels, we're going to get a season 2 of Kamran, Red Dagger, maybe more of Bruno because it felt like there's some stuff like the note to refer to that's left unresolved. But anything else on Kamran?
I don't think so. I think maybe my last point is just like I feel like the first 10, 15 minutes of this episode had like really bad pacing and just like the sequence where they're going from place to place. Like they're going to Nakia's house, and then I don't even know. They're just walking around the streets holding each other, Bruno and Kamran. I don't know. It just definitely did not get me hyped to be in the finale. I'm like, oh god, we're just walking around the city very slowly. I don't know. It just felt like it was very slow progression, but I don't think I have anything else on character-wise for him.
It was very strange how Bruto was just running with him, and I understand like he had powers popping off of his arm, but it seemed like Bruno was really like hugging him, like I am gonna take a bullet for this man, and they're running that way. It was strange. He was just taking on the role of a Secret Service member.
He's a good guy. He's trying to save him. He's a fellow
He is
kid.
the goodest
He's
of
too
all the
good.
guys. He is
Yeah.
too good. Yes, the way
Called
Kamala
out that
treats him.
racist
Called
agent.
called
and everything.
Brian. Yeah, probably like broke his orbital bone in his fucking face. My
Oh yeah,
gosh.
he's not going to school anymore. He can't talk. Shut up! They hit him and then slammed his face against the glass. And Miss,
What was it? You
You racist fuck.
boom! And
more
Miss Marvel
friends.
didn't even have a scratch on her, but Bruno definitely has a broken face. So
And he already had a broken hand. Like he had a cast on. This poor guy.
looking like Matt Murdock at the end of this show. God damn.
I gotta like redub that scene of him just dancing. And
No,
music.
you
I just
don't.
put in like the audio, like you racist fuck, and then just boom. That'd be so good.
I don't think that's gonna happen, but there's a
hope I see
TikTok
it.
waiting. There's a TikTok waiting right there. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this because I don't want to forget about it. There's two things I want to say. When they're making their plans, I appreciate what's her name, the girl that was like kind of the bully. Not her name was Kimmy
Zoe.
or Limmy. Oh, sorry.
Zoe.
that shows how much.
Lemmy.
That shows how much.
Lemmy is not a name. You just made that.
I guarantee you someone's name is Limmy. But shows how much I'm going to retain from this show. But I like when she had to get the fire extinguisher, like her weak, like breaking her with the elbow, trying to get cut. I got a giggle out of that. And then I got an eye roll of, man, I got transported back to Amazing Spider-Man 1 when the city decides they're going to help Miss Marvel. And they're getting all these texts and seeing all this stuff like, look, we got to get down there. I don't hate it and everything, but so much I hate when the city like gets together to like for this cause that they have no idea about, and they're putting themselves in danger. And like I get what they're trying to go for, but I just feel like that was not warranted. It had not been built up enough because she's not been in Jersey City enough. If she could have had a few more episodes of continuing saving people, it'd be like, yeah, let's get behind her. But it's not a massive con for me. It's not even anything I dock that much points. It's just a trope that I always eye roll is, oh, the city is, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, so.
I think
And they
it-
didn't do
I-
anything. They just cheered her. They didn't help.
Yeah, literally. I think if anything, it just put a spotlight on what the bad DODC agent was doing, right? Like her boss found out that way because the whole world's tweeting about it, TikToking about it, whatever the hell the kids are calling
Fair.
it these days. And like it also just felt like because some minor missteps. I feel like a good theme of this show is family. Like she's always with her family. It's a big part of it, and then it's just like the family of Jersey City. Like it's just like a big wholesome thing. Like even by the end,
Oh, I got it.
it's not like how we've seen some other characters of like. I guess not everybody knows it's Kamala, even though you should
A
know
lot of
it's
people
Kamala.
seem to know.
The immediate
Yeah.
family and friends know.
Because I was gonna
And
say
Kimmy
it's
and
not like a
Lemmy.
Spider-Man situation where there's like cops and everything like swarming your house. It's just like everybody's kind of just okay with it. Like it just has like a everything's gonna be okay type of vibe. And I thought like the end of just everybody coming together to root her on and like that kind of just helped defeat the threat. It kind of worked for me at least. I don't know.
End credit scenes just her going to Doctor Strange. I need you to cast a spell, make everyone forget that they know who Kamala Khan
He's
is.
like not again.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what happened to the last guy, but I know it didn't go well.
Go ahead. Throw out anything randomly you want here. I don't have. Obviously, we'll save the two bigger things at the end, but I don't have any. I really don't have much more because we talked about parents, we talked about Kamran, we talked about Red Dagger.
Mr. Finger.
Yeah, ET grab right there.
So again, like Discount Eternals just
AT likes
totally
home.
just fucked off, obviously. And my
Thank
biggest
God. I didn't
thing
even
with
come back
them,
to that.
my biggest thing with them was, and I guess this is in retrospect now, because when I was watching like the catch up like rerun thing at the beginning of the episode, because there's no fucking skip button for some reason, so I had to rewatch
Yo,
it.
that was weird.
There is. Oh, is there? Was there
Not
not?
for me.
Oh,
I
That's
watched on
weird.
PC, so it wasn't there for me.
Oh. So they did the rerun and they showed the Discount Eternals sitting with Kamala, just having like dinner, family fun time, and just like, hey, you can help us. And then it skipped to the scene where the main evil lady, Eternal, fucking stabs her co-Eternal lady just to get the band. I'm just thinking like, wow, she was fucking killing people, waited probably like 100 years, 50, 60 years, a long period of time, and is now in this situation where she's just going to take her time, have good family charades time and all that stuff.
Well, she was trying to trick her. I feel like I don't have a problem
I
with that.
guess,
She was
but you
trying
know
to gain
what?
her trust.
I guess that's the case. Sure. You know what? It's a kid show, so I get you can't shank her, take the bangle, and just move on. Because I mean, that's what they should have done. They just she went full skull and bones mode, and
You can't do that in any
CGI
show, even if
form.
it's kids show, because then your show just ends. That's like
But
That
it
would be
didn't
great.
because she died anyways, and the show still went on. Well, I guess
First
no.
two episodes, your main character gets killed, and you're like, shit, what's gonna happen next? you
Yeah,
know?
they can't kill her
Shit.
off. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
every
that is
show is
true.
just a pilot because the main character just dies.
I think the community would have been pretty upset if Miss Marvel died episode 2 to a slit throat, and it was just about the Discount Eternals. You know, it's kind of like what they did with fucking Mandalorian and Boba Fett. You know, they did that themselves. Dylan, would you believe in Boba Fett? So I'm gonna just quickly explain this to you so you get that joke.
Sure.
So Boba Fett's, what is it, 6-7 episodes? So let's say the first 3 episodes is pure Boba Fett. At one point, like, we need some help, and obviously they're talking about Mando, right? The next 2 episodes are pure, other than Boba's like in it for like 5 seconds, are pure just Mandalorian episodes. They're just about the Mandalorian character in the middle of the Boba Fett show, and then he's at the end of those 2 episodes, like, I guess I'm gonna go Tatooine and help Boba Fett. They literally took a whole detour just to do like Mandalorian episodes and stuff like that. It's the wildest
That's
thing ever.
awesome. I love that.
It was because Boba Fett fucking sucked. So it was a good detour. But detour me away from this. Anything else to bring up here in the main plot?
We got some
Kirklin's
big
got something.
hands. We got some big hands.
Yeah, we got some
here,
embiggening going on. Yeah, she didn't get as big as people were hoping. People were hoping
Yeah.
she's gonna get like Godzilla like, but
Whoa.
it's Disney
Did,
Plus.
did she
folks.
get there in like canon or comic?
Well,
whatever
yeah,
the
she
hell
could
we're at?
turn into pretty big. Like as
Yeah.
far as like when it's her actual comic book powers, when she can like grow, she can get pretty
But
big.
not like
I think
like
Godzilla.
no, but this is just
Giant Man
embiggening, you know.
size.
Yeah, I'd say like a little smaller giant man, but like I think
That's
Ant Man
pretty
could be Godzilla size. But now with the embiggening, it's not her physical body; it's her power. So you could.
Yeah.
I think people were expecting a little bit bigger. She just looked like she like wore a bunch of socks and she got a couple feet taller, which was cool. And she had like some big hands, so it was fun to see. Yes.
Yeah, it was cool. I like how it's just like a nod to like I guess the other version of her powers, and it's still unique and interesting. And this whole power with the bangle, like I'm curious what that kind of entails, especially with the line that was dropped at the end that we haven't even touched upon yet. So like, there's just a lot of interesting things that's yet to come. But it was cool to see. I like that big moment when she jumps in the air, feeling like an Ultimate Alliance move, where she's just like Hulk smash, Miss Marvel smash, and then everyone's just seeing her in that
Exact
big form.
line from the show. Miss Marvel smash, you racist.
Smash
fuck.
it time.
Yeah.
Red Dagger guy.
Yeah, Red Digger Man. It was
Red Digger
man.
Man,
instead of-
yes,
yeah.
I forgot it.
He's above 18, so he's a man now. So
When it comes to the powers, I honestly have been like kind of soured on it as it's gone on. I think
Oof.
just partially the budget and what they chose, but also just like what they chose to do with it. Like if they pulled a Mark Ruffalo like becoming the Hulk and just like in the Marvels, her powers just looked completely different, I think I would be okay with that, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. But they just wanted to do something different when they maybe have a movie budget and can do more with it. I just think it never really looked. I think it seemed to get worse. I mean, the CGI in general seemed to get worse as it progressed. But in this last episode, the bigger set pieces where like there's just crystals everywhere, I don't know. Didn't look good to me. That was maybe my last point.
The only thing I will say that I liked her suit up moment and her like running throughout the city. I liked the music they had. I liked the moment of people seeing her. And it's like the fun classic superhero, coming out moment, and she's flipping everywhere. And yeah, and I like the suit. Looks good, So that whole introduction to Miss Marvel, that worked for me. So
I like the ending too, how like it's like the reflection through her dad's glasses. Like that one episode, it's like the aunt I think it's the grandma and then her mom, and they just like look away, and you see or you hear the sound effects, but you don't see anything. This time you actually like at least see a reflection of it. But it It was cool.
No.
Magic.
Save money
Pure
where you can.
magic. Save
Uh,
money where you can.
Anything on the main show before we get to the two? I'd say it's two end credits. It's not two end credits because they put them together, but they really like it felt like it end credit because the show ended and then you got a 1 week later. But anything before the 1 week later?
Shouts out to Hammy Dizzle. That was one of those TikTok dudes that was like just
Mhm.
reacting to like Nightlight.
That was the kid with the broken leg, right?
I think it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shouts to
He's-
Hammy Dizzle.
He's not a real TikToker, is he?
I don't know. I'm not
Okay.
TikTok.
Well, I just want to know because there's so many people that are like TikTok famous.
Oh,
and like
okay,
I
that's
have no
fair.
idea. Like
Yeah,
I have no
that's
idea.
fair.
I don't know who's famous.
That's
on
fair.
what.
The way I said that would have made
Yeah.
sense. So.
Well, and I guess it's in character or in story, but I thought you were saying like, oh, I'm a big fan of Hammy
Shout out to Hammy
Dizzle.
Dizzle.
Yeah,
my main
and I was
man.
like,
yeah.
They hired this
cool.
TikToker and broke his leg in real life for
Fuck.
the immersion of the show.
This poor
He said,
kid.
"Fuck you, racist."
Wow. And they dropped him. That's bad. So, Tay, anything on the main show?
Gosh, was there anything else very specific?
It's okay
I
if
thought
there's
the foam stuff in the classroom was pretty wild. That was like 1 to fucking 100. It's pooling over the staircases. Like I don't know. Like that's a lot of prep time. A lot of prep time.
It looks it looked satisfying. Whatever, if that I don't think it was real, but the effect of it looked like I want to be in that.
It's
And I
just
know
pure acid. Just melting
yeah, like
these
I
poor
know I
men.
don't want to actually be in the acid, but like it looked like if it was safe, like if I had Wolverine's healing powers, I'd be all up in that acid, you know. So
okay.
all up in that acid. Okay. There we go. It's definitely 1:30 in the morning. Let's talk about our two end credit scenes. Well, okay. Sorry, we'll start with the ending of it. I'm just saying that because to me it felt weird that usually you get one and then the other, but to me it felt like, okay, the show ended with him, the dad, watching her go away, just got Miss Marvel, great. And then smash 1 week later, they're doing these jokes about the car. Miss Marvel takes the car. And then we get something very interesting. So, and Bruno out of nowhere, she's like, I've been looking at your jeans. Like, fucking creepy. He's always looking at his jeans. You know, but I compare him to your family. How do you get your family's jeans? Are you still watching from that video? I digress.
Oh, he
but
definitely is.
yeah, gets Carmen there.
He's swabbing all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, just for the genetics, but either way, so he's looked into her genes, and I thought we were gonna get a different word set, but he said no. And as hence my new nickname that I can say in spoilers, he says that your cells look like they have a mutation. Now I thought he was gonna be even more cheesy and say they look inhuman because she was an inhuman, but I think we're closing the door on that, and it's very interesting. If there's dropping that word, to me, I know it, like it's not by accident. They know what they invokes because I don't think you can drop the M word and like later on be like, well, she's like an inhuman, not really immune. And I'm not saying she is the first mutant, but this is a way that I wonder whether it's in the movie or the show, if they will get into, was she mutated since birth? Was it these bracelets that did this? Was it something like the snap radiation? Whatever it may be. And that's going to maybe start leading into like what we get with the X-Men. And I wonder, and I'm sure tons of people are going to fucking hate it if this is the case, if the mutants start now, which I don't think it is, but if the mutants start now, if they're going to make her like she was the first mutant, I don't think they should do that. That's not the safest play, but I was caught off guard by that word, and it definitely means something. Now, I don't know how much they'll explore or the Marvels, but I don't necessarily even need her to be linked to X-Men, but them doing that does kind of start the linkation. So, Tay, I saw you chuckling over there. What were you laughing about?
Oh, I was just thinking of like Xavier just wheeling out of the dark or whatever after Bruno's.
Why is he in the dark? Why can't he just be a
Comes out
normal
of the
day?
hole.
I don't know. It's like we
That
should
was one
tell
of
her.
those Marvel's whole.
We should tell her the truth, and he rolls in off the side or something. I don't know.
It's like the exact same end.
Exact
Yeah.
same scene
Just
from
because
the
people get
Multiverse of
lost.
Madness.
Just because people stumble and lose their way doesn't mean they're lost. But Tay, what did you think about the M word? You know,
The M word, yeah. I wasn't expecting it like at all. I was trying to figure out where they were going with it because he was just kind of like, I was looking at your genes, like your genealogy. It's different. I was looking at your whole family. It's just like, Bruno, where are you going with this, bud? And yeah, sure enough, the whole mutants
Bud.
thing. it was a curveball, and I thought, okay, sooner or later it was bound to happen, and finally we got it mentioned here, and thought, okay, cool. Like I wasn't standing up and just like whipping my t-shirt, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like
I was
um,
I was
but
whipping your t-shirt. I went over,
Oh,
took
yeah.
I was in the doorway, just silhouette.
it, looking for your
Wake up.
genetics.
Emily,
Let me look at your jeans.
They announced, yeah.
Mutants, kids, mutants.
Oh,
It's
but
happening.
I'm excited because this means we're going to be getting again. Am I a huge X-Men fan because of what we've seen in the past? Like, I'm not the massive like first in line X-Men fan, but I'm excited to see what Disney's going to do with the X-Men on this turn, because we're getting there's aspects that are going to be familiar, and there's going to be aspects that are going to be very new and Disneyfied. And I'm curious to see how they're going to tackle it, because so many of these things and elements that they've done haven't. Like, I never thought I would be into it, but sure enough, every step of the way, for the most part, it's just been a great time with these characters. So to get mutants finally being dived in here, that's great. I know you would have mentioned in passing that she was an Inhuman before. It's a smaller detail that completely went over my head, so I didn't recall that. So when they mentioned that it was a mutant, I'm glad you clarified that, so just to compare it. But I'm wondering too, like, if they do want to retcon that, like, he doesn't obviously know what Inhumans are, so he could just, what he's calling mutant, they could easily say, well, technically you're an Inhuman, right, later on.
Yeah, technically. I just feel like because the Inhumans were kind of, they got bigger and bigger, created more when they wanted to stop using the X-Men, like when Fox had the rights to them and stuff. So lots of, I feel like the things they would have done with the Inhumans, like maybe, and that's maybe the retcon in a way where Miss Marvel, maybe she would have been a mutant in the comic books if they were doing more with X-Men at the time. So I'm not opposed to it. I'm interested. Now, I saw something because I've been scrolling to find out, while you guys were talking, I got to check that apparently, because I got the AC blasting my house, so I couldn't hear it. Did you guys hear a music chime when she said the word mutants? Because people are saying that they played the X-Men 97 animated theme, and apparently it's listed in the credits, and that's fucking bonkers if that's the case. I'm gonna
Whoa.
pull it up right now. So I'm gonna once
Totally missed that.
so Kirklin, you take it, and then if I find it, I'll put it up against my microphone and see what's going on. So I will be muted, but I'm listening to you intently.
I hope so. Yeah, I was pretty blown away, honestly. I feel like I was kind of just chilling in my chair, and as soon as I heard that big M word, I definitely leaned up. It's like, oh, okay, now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. Like, now we're getting into something that actually is significant going forward in the MCU. And this is, like, you know, just because they mentioned mutant here, it doesn't necessarily mean that this is like a must-watch MCU project. But it's a big deal that this is the first time we're hearing mutants like in the actual MCU. Not including Charles Xavier from Multiverse of Madness and that stuff. But yeah, I think it's a big deal. It for me, it tells me that we're getting ever closer, you know, to just mutants like live action away from the Fox ones, which I personally love. Taylor, don't you hate the X-Men?
I don't hate them. No.
He said he's
no,
not
he hates
first
them
in
with a
line.
passion.
He hates them.
They just
Oh,
never
he
did
hates them
anything.
so
I was
Like,
super
Taylor, you want to
driving.
be on our X-Men retro? He's like, fuck the X-Men, I hate them.
Because the X-Men's all about groups that are oppressed and fighting the underdogs. He's like, no, not me. I'm the big man on campus. I don't care about you people needing help, you know? Stay in your
do a good
schools.
Quicksilver. The MCU Quicksilver's way better.
Yeah, right, the MCU one. Okay, so I do have it, and then I'll
Okay.
play it here.
Play
Hopefully
it.
we don't get copyright strike.
Copyright.
but, here we go.
Genes. Like a mutation.
Yeah, so I did not hear that at all because of my AC unit. And that's super fascinating because, like, we had Xavier in Multiverse of Madness and that theme played, but it was like, okay, he's playing like a multiverse version of the animated series one. Cool, you're going to play it here. Man, I really hope, I don't care if they just steal it from the cartoon. If we get the X-Men and they're going to use that fucking cool-ass guitar riff theme all the time, like updated, it's the same way. Remember how Michael Giacchino has that really cool Spider-Man classic theme, but they never use it in the actual movie? It's just always in the trailer. Like, fuck, just use it. Luckily, No Way Home, we got some really great music, but that's even more interesting, especially because you get the word mutant, you get that theme, you have X-Men 97 coming back this year, or sorry, next year, but we're going to get that panel about it. Now, I'm not saying Miss Marvel's going to be in that show, but the fact that now in our main MCU, they use that music drop for the word mutant, man, that's even more spicy than it was before, because now that's less for how Taylor and you were saying, oh, they could do an Inhuman later on. with them dropping that music cue to that show, that even more enforces like, no, she's gonna be a mutant now, and
That's
God,
true.
maybe she might actually be on the X-Men now. I didn't even think about that, but geez, that's what a roller coaster we just went on there. Dylan Musk, where are you in this roller
crazy.
coaster?
Yeah, I won't repeat anything you guys said. I think it is very cool, a lot of fun, and she's a newer-ish character, and they already took a lot of creative liberties in terms of at least her powers here. I don't know how much they did in terms of the origin story of like her
Quite a bit.
family and all that.
The family dynamics all pretty much the same.
Okay.
Yeah, just the powers.
The powers
she didn't
are
get it from Din and stuff like that. Like I'd say the family stuff they nailed. Everything else is they took some liberties with.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to make these changes because she is newer and they're still, figuring out what this character is, and within this world, it's going to be a bit different too. So I'm totally okay with them change. Like I think in the Marvel's Avengers game, it's like Terrigen Mist or something like that
Yeah.
that gives her powers, right? So they can always just insert different keywords to determine like how she actually has these powers. But he also did mention that it's like I guess a combination of the bracelet thing and that she has this mutation gene. I'd have to go back and listen to the exact line, but something about that too. But yeah, I think what you alluded to of the Inhumans, like I don't see them happening in the MCU for a very long time, if ever, just because of like that show that happened that didn't really seem to be that successful. And like I just haven't heard any leaks or rumors. There's no talks of like any of those
We
characters.
got
and
Black
stories.
Bolt. Remember Multiverse Madness?
Well, I
He's
was going to
gone,
mention
but-
that. You
okay,
stole it right from under me. But yeah, like to me, that's like their easy get out of jail free card is put Black Bolt in this multiverse scene that has no relevance, and then he dies in that scene anyway. So who cares? And boom, like that's how they can use a character like Black Bolt. But like I don't expect that we're gonna get Black Bolt casting and we're gonna get a Black Bolt film in the next year announced, anything like that. So I think, they know looking at the future 10 year. What we're talking about. Feige was on that retreat with a bunch of people, and they were doing like their next 10 years of Marvel. Like I would not be shocked if Inhumans didn't even come up in that meeting, and so that's where it makes sense to just throw in this little line from Bruno that doesn't really do anything right now. It doesn't like I would not even be shocked if it didn't really come up in the Marvels at all either. It's just something that they can play with in the future. So I am really curious what they do with it, but I think it is a fun change to the character that I'm very much down for.
I bet the only time it could come up is end credits similar to this, where they have their adventure and they expand upon that more. Like someone else is like, yeah, I've also been looking at your genetics, or someone else has that. I'm not saying fucking Xavier's gonna roll in, like Taylor said, like tell her the truth and everything, but
It's gonna be fucking Selvig again. He's gonna be doing
Eric
some DNA
Selvig,
magic.
yeah.
In the
Shredding
chair,
on guitar,
too. In the
He's
yellow
like
chair.
actually just playing the music.
Yeah, looking at your genes, you could have saved some characters from Thor: Love and Thunder, but it's okay. Yeah, and what I'm curious about with that like bracelet now, because to me, if she's a mutant, that means she has some powers without this bracelet. So I wonder if eventually we'll lose it or something. It could, like you were talking about, maybe there's some enhancement, but still, if she is, Jesus, Buzz, be quiet. If she has some mutant powers, sorry, my
Lightyear?
Buzz toy was
Jesus.
going. Yeah, it was Buzz Lightyear going off. If she has some mutant powers, she has powers, so we'll see what happens there. Let's
Well,
look at
maybe it could be
okay.
kind of something, just real quick here. It could be something like, what was the name? Is it like Pyro or whatnot? Like you couldn't conjure flame, but he had the
Yes.
lighter.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's true.
maybe
Yeah,
something like
he
that.
he couldn't create the flame; he could just copy it. So she,
It's a good pull for a non X-Men fan,
Yeah.
Taylor.
Oh, I know some stuff. I've
that was
dwelled
Taylor with his
into,
light, with his lighter,
into the
And
mansion.
Pyro.
and Pyro. And then when they killed him in X3, he's like, "Fuck the X-Men! I hate them."
Oh yeah, it was
I hate
hard.
them all.
It
He
was
was
a
my
rough patch
favorite-
for me.
Yeah. That would be so lame though. Like, what's your power? Oh, I can create these cosmic things, but I can only copy them. I can't create them and everything like that. Like Pyro's fine because he gets a whole soup out of her.
Well, it's the Thor thing as well, again, because he thinks his power came from his hammer. Really, his hammer would just let him channel it. His power was inside him, right? So it's another dynamic there.
Yeah, but the difference is he can still do all that lightning shit with the hammer. We're saying that Pyro, Miss Marvel, couldn't do that shit without their, lighter or bracelet.
Didn't Magneto
right?
try to like make Pyro think he could do it, and it just wasn't working for him?
Not in the movies you saw.
Oh shit!
Okay. Let's take our last ad break there. I'll get down the credits and then our final thoughts. We'll be right back. So crazy. I can't wait for Comic-Con next week because people are going to be talking about this stuff. And but what else they're going to be talking about? So we had since the show started, and I'm excited. Go check out this week. It'll be early for patrons when we record, and then we'll drop next week. We're going to do our Comic-Con predictions cast. It's going to be all 4 of us. On that cast, I'm going to bring in the new MCU rankings and update us all and everything like that. Because somebody, I think it's who had her? I just had it there. Dill Muss had Captain Marvel, so he's getting some nice 15 unannounced appearance points and an end credit one.
Oh
so
yeah, juicy points.
yeah. So
I
will
need them
have
too. So
yeah,
that's good.
I'll have it all updated with the Thor tallies and this show tally for the Comic-Con cast. Look out for that. But yes, we got Captain Marvel unannounced, but I would say for all of us not surprising because we've talked about that since the show announced that it's going to have to happen. Now, like Kirklin was alluding to, I thought there was a chance when she was just sitting on that pole or sitting with her dad, like, man, it's going to happen here. She's literally going to fly by and be like, keep doing what you're doing, kid, and like fly off like some weird animated show. Didn't happen though, and what we talked about, there was 2 ways. There was that way or there was a story way, and clearly they are going the story way. And what I like is, so Kamala's in her room, for some she gets violently, and I'll say violently ripped to her fucking closet. Like that looked like there's definitely getting some bruises, and when she steps out, it's not her anymore, it's Captain Marvel. Now I still think it is Captain Marvel. For a second I thought they like switched bodies or something and that was happening, but I think it's
Friday.
I think it's still Cara Danvers, but she walks out of that closet. New suit. I'm liking the new suit. It's like a bit sleeker and stuff. She's in this fangirl room and everything like that. And Dilmas, what do you think about? We kind of thought this would likely happen, but what do you think about the actual story reason? It seems like in the Marvels, there's going to be a swap, and maybe if Carol's in space, that's where Kamala's gone, and then Carol's back to Earth or something like that.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see an interaction between them, but I'm actually totally okay with this. I think this was fun, a little bit unexpected in the moment too, and I think that actually like sets up pretty well for like the plot of the Marvels, where Carol's like, what the fuck is going on here? Obviously she knows where she is, but assuming Miss Marvel is wherever Captain Marvel was, she's going to be confused as hell. And yeah, Captain Marvel is going to just, I guess, go back to where she was before and try and find her, and that could be the kind of setup for how they meet and what's going on there. Or maybe there's something else going on with that bangle that I don't really know. But I'm excited for this. I think this is I don't know, they kept it pretty simple. It was a pretty short scene, but it works for me. It's a good setup. And yeah, I was kind of losing faith in the last couple episodes that we weren't going to get to see her, and I really needed those points. So I was really hoping she would show up. So it was fun to see her.
Taylorfield.
I was just thinking about that whole concept of if they swap places and she's flying through space and Kamala's just like I can't breathe, stuck in like
Just
space
dead.
somewhere. Yeah, just
Instantly,
Once again, your
Find
main
my
character of
daughter.
the Marvels dies in the first 2 minutes.
Taylor really wants the first mutant in the MCU to kick the bucket.
No, not at all. Well, I mean, technically, she's not the first mutant in the MCU. We got Xavier, but he did kick the bucket.
I'm talking to the sacred timeline. Sacred timeline.
Sacred
That's what we're
timeline.
talking
616, right?
about. The 616 or the 000941, whatever it's called.
Yeah, when this scene happened, honestly, I was like, what the fuck just happened? I didn't understand what was going on. Again, my lack of comic knowledge is clearly showing and being blatantly obvious here, but I just was not following. It was the Bengal doing something, and I just thought, okay, this is a story we're going to learn about in the Marvels, because I don't understand the connection.
No, we're
Like,
not. They're going to skip this part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just like, are you I'm a big fan of like Star Wars, but like I'm not going to swap places with someone from the Star Wars universe. And that's the kind of thing that I interpreted this like, okay, she is the only connection is her fandom. But now I'm thinking, okay, the Bengal was obviously vibrating and doing something, but what does that have to do with Captain Marvel? Like, Captain Marvel had obviously her power in her, I guess, already, and then was it the Tesseract that did that or something? I have to rewatch that
Tesseract's
movie.
inside her now.
Yeah. So I just have questions. I have a lot of questions. But again, seeing Brie Larson just pop up, it was definitely cool, because it's been a while since we last saw her. It would have been Endgame.
2019.
Yeah, so it's been a few years. So it was cool to see her pop in, because I started to have doubts, thinking like, God, what if we really don't see her in this show? And I thought, well, there's definitely gonna be an end credit scene, but like maybe they won't. Maybe they're just gonna show like Red Dagger Man and Cameron just training in the courtyard or something like that. You don't know these days.
Oh my
That would be
god.
horrible.
I would have ranked this below DCU stuff if that was.
You never know these days.
Yeah, you do never know. Kirkland, you're a big Cat Tomorrow fan, so we're happy to see your girl.
Yeah, absolutely. A new look. She looked pretty damn badass.
Hair's back.
Yeah, hair's back, longer hair.
Yeah.
She didn't have
No
the
fucking
wig.
chance she was wearing
Yeah.
that wig for a whole Marvels movie. Not a fucking
Yeah.
chance.
But yeah, no, I really like her new suit, and I think like if anything, it was like a big okay that like this is a clear indication on how we're gonna be tied these characters together in the Marvels when we get to that movie. Is there another Marvel character in that like
Yeah, what's her name? Maria
Miriam
Rambeau.
Rambeau? Yeah, okay.
Or is it Maria or
So-
Monica? I always fuck
Monica Rambeau? Okay. Well, there's both, isn't there? Isn't that her mom?
That's I know. I'm trying to think which one's
Oh, I see
which.
what you're saying.
Monica Rambeau, I think, is the
Rambeau.
one we're getting in the one from WandaVision. That's Monica. I'm pretty sure. I'll confirm, but that's Monica. And then Maria is No Time to Die 007.
Right. Okay. So it'll be interesting to find out, how she gets tied between the two of them. I guess she has similar powers to Captain Marvel, so it'll be something like that.
Yes,
Like,
WandaVision,
there she
Monica.
is.
Yeah, so she's the other Marvel. Because obviously she just got powers in WandaVision, right? Walking through some sort of portal shit. So
Right. But I think it was a good end credit scene, especially because like I said earlier, like I really thought the scene with her on the roof, like that was gonna be where Carol came, and it didn't. And I'm like, man, we're really not gonna get her. Like this is kind of surprising. And then sure enough, we got to the end credit, and that's where we got her. And I thought it was swell.
yeah, no, I agree. I think it was a good way to tie it together. I think it's good for GAPO that they probably know because the names, but still, it's like, okay, they're tied together right away. It's that classic Marvel. Hey, this is looking forward to the next thing. And I think it's a fun thing, like kind of what Taylor's proposing. He has all these questions. I think other people will, like, how did they swap and how this happened? And I think what's going to happen is when we get the Marvels, the first act of the movie is just going to be Carol, and we're going to see it from her side, and it's going to swap places, and then we'll get in that. But I don't think it's going to start here. I think it's going to start in her kind of own adventure, and then we'll get to this scene again and kind of go throughout. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm just excited to see Brie Larson and Amon Villani just together. And and I liked Monica Rambeau enough, but those two, I think they're gonna have some great chemistry. I think the Marvels is gonna be just tons of fun if it's directed right, which I have faith because Nia DaCosta from Candyman's doing it. I just think it's gonna be really good. So I'm really excited to see their chemistry. I think I'm like Dylan that you could have done it here, but then at least they're saving it for the movie. And that kind of gives you a reason that you got to go see it there, right? So. Dylan Muss, final thoughts on Miss Marvel as of right now, season 1.
Yeah, final thoughts. I think this is really down in the dumps for me, MCU wise. Down there in the Thor Dark Worlds, the Incredible Hulks. Really down at the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately. Easily the worst Disney Plus show. And yeah, it is too bad because those first 2 episodes are great, but unfortunately it's just so much of the show is bogged down by even if like it was the first episode was great and the last episode was great and like it was the messy ones in the middle, maybe I'd feel differently. But the fact that it was like 2 great episodes and then just like all of that substance and style just out the window, and just like writing going downhill and just very generic. So yeah, it's a very sad state of affairs. But set up for some interesting stuff here at the end. Which is 1 minute worth of screen time. Like that was the most interesting things coming out of these last 4 episodes is the word mutation being said and like this swapping. So I don't know. It's kind of a bummer, but that's where I'm at. I am curious. I've been meaning to do a updated Marvel ranking for all my MCU stuff. It's been a while since I've done that. I haven't done that with the TV shows and all that in there. So I'm curious where this ends up for me, but it's very, very, very low spoiler for my list.
At the end of the year, after Wakanda Forever is done, we will be doing a Phase 4 / overall ranking.
That'll be fun.
So yeah, we're gonna get in there and rank them and stuff. So yeah, so bottom tier for Dylan Muss here. Maybe these guys are more positive than me, so I'm gonna give it a 6.5, and that sounds super low. It's still like a pass. It's still like a C+. I think if the show, as I said before, it was a bit kiddie, wasn't exactly my taste, but I think if it would have stayed the quality of the first 2 episodes, this to me would have been around I think at least like a 7.5 type of 8 because I could still look and go, okay, well, it's very well made. It just can't get to that up top tier. But yeah, it kind of just, we had a rocky road of mixed episodes, bad episodes, all right finale. The biggest thing I at least take away is Amon Vallani. She's fantastic. I'm ready to watch her. The same way we talk about Hemsworth being like, I can't wait to see her for 10 years. When I was rewatching it with Gwen and everything like that, and when we got to that scene where she had like that musical number in episode 2 where she's like singing because she's like kind of in love with Kamran and just stuff, I was like, man, she has so much charisma and she's so good. And she's just like anything I've seen from the comic books that I have read with her video games, she does feel like Miss Marvel come to life. And that's the best thing, because it'd be worse if this was a show that I felt very mediocre and that it was like a child actor where you're like, they're not the greatest. But she delivered tenfold. So if I rewatch the show again, which is probably unlikely because I'll just wait for the Marvels, and then if she's in that, then I have something to watch where she is. So, but that would be the reason, is for her performance. The rest of the stuff could have been great, but never got past its kind of pitch. You know, it pitched a lot of things but didn't promised a lot of things, didn't deliver on them. So a 6.5. I think I got it ranked in the bottom 5 for sure, maybe bottom 3 for me, which is kind of sad. I did not think it would be ranked there at all after the first 2, even 3rd episode. So that's where I am, 6.5 out of 10 for season 1. Taylorfield.
You look like you're gonna go Kirklin there for a second.
I just feel like
I don't
Kirkland's
know.
gonna get the highest score, so that's why I was trying to leave it on a high note. But maybe I'm wrong. Show me, Taylor. What do you got?
I'll show you the way. I would probably give this, well, thinking in retrospect of all the other shows and the things that they tackle, there are things and reasons that I like those other shows and put them over this. And the reason being is just because we got to that midway point and I just felt like things, I don't want to say fell apart, but they just started to, they picked up and they got really, really fast, but just they got really, really fast and brought on way too much. And I feel like they were just pointless aspects to the story with some of the characters, Discount Eternals, all that kind of stuff. It just wasn't really driving with me. And I think that really did some damage to it overall for me, at least as a viewer. I don't have pre-existing knowledge on Kamala and Miss Marvel, so this is my gateway into this character. And while I'm there, we've made it, and we've gone on this journey together, and I can say, okay, I understand some of these components to what makes this character Miss Marvel. Based on the show, I still feel like there's a lot more that need to be explored, a lot more sustenance. So I'm gonna give it probably, if I'm rating it a 10.
Or 12. You
typical.
can rate it at 12.
Out of 12.
We like a 12 point scale.
It's not
I'd-
a 5.
Probably
Keep those
go
fives outta
like a 6.5 out of 10. Like it's that's me being like more positive. It's definitely not around like to the 5, like 50% mark, but it's like it's up there enough where like those first 3 episodes I really enjoyed. And again, the finale, it brought it up for me a little bit. So it's just the damaging inner part near the back half of this season that just wasn't for me. But I mean, it was fun. It's fun to talk and go through this journey with you guys.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We were around for the first mutant drop. You know, we can always say that. We were
That's true.
here when they said the word
Black
mutant.
hole drop, like her first.
They didn't
usage
say
of that
mutant.
power.
They said mutated.
All right. That's what they're going to call them, mutated. You're mutated, you know.
You're a freak.
Yeah.
Yeah, Parker, you really are a freak.
You fucking freak.
You're mutated, Parker. Kirk Batzer,
Um,
take us home.
Yeah, man, this one was interesting because, like I said earlier, like it. Honestly, like I after those first 2 episodes, I thought this was gonna be like at least a 9 out of 10 show for me. Like I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. And those last 2, it really did damage to me. It's tough to kind of come back. I'm curious, like when I rewatch the show, like if I don't know, lean more in one direction or the other. But I feel like at the end of the day, like Travis, you were highlighting, is just like I think Amon was just such a powerhouse that I can really like she boosts the points that I'm giving the show overall. I think like at least by 2 on her own. Like she was just so fantastic. All the family stuff was really, really fun. Like the cultural things, especially like with the partition of India, like that was really interesting to learn about. So it's tough, but like honestly, I think I'm still gonna have to give it like a 6 out of 10. Like just a
Oh,
flat
he's below
6.
me and Taylor. I thought for
I
sure.
know, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow,
it's tough. Like
miscalculated.
those
Like
were
Bruno.
just I couldn't believe that I was watching the penultimate episode, like leading into the finale, and I was just like head scratching. Like, what am I watching here? Like, why are we doing this right now? Like, it really was at such a low point where like that episode was like a 1 or 2 out of 10. So it brought the average down tremendously. Again, though, like there is so many really good things about those first 3 episodes. Travis, like the musical number, like that was so fantastic. I wish we just got more of that flavor throughout the entire show as a whole. I think keeping those Pakistan sequences out would have been the goal. Like you would have just had more time to do some more fun Jersey things. Like the fun graphics that we got in the earlier portion of the show, like those just faded out of existence. Those were really fun. And yeah, I don't know. Again, like I feel like maybe the move would have been to do it in a movie form, but again, like how do you introduce, or maybe how do you sell like a movie for a character that no one really knows? Like I feel like maybe you would have to do the same thing that they did with Spider-Man, of like have him come in Civil War, have her come into another project, and then
They did it with Shang-Chi, didn't they?
Yeah, in Guardians and Eternals, they've done it a few times now where they just brought in someone
Yeah.
cold, so they could do it. Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's too late now. We've had her origin.
we
Right?
can go back in time.
We can
Change.
go back.
Hold
We'll
my
change
gunpoint.
the-
Don't
Prune
make
it,
this a
prune it.
show. We're
Start
telling
again.
you.
We'll just find the actor that's Bruno and just fucking clock him. Oh, poor Bruno.
That's why he didn't get
Just the
Spider-Man.
punching bag. Was he in the running of Spider-Man? Bruno?
That's what he said. Yeah.
No. There you go.
Yeah, obviously not a fucking chance. You're playing Bruno, kid. You're playing.
Getting hit. You're never gonna get the girl.
Yeah. You're gonna be a loser that doesn't even get the car, you idiot. You do get
That's
to tell her
a-
she's mutated, though. That's a big deal.
That's
Big
a weird
deal.
thing. Like, what if the actor did get the gig as Peter Parker? Would him and Zendaya be in a relationship?
That's
Yes,
an
that's how it
after. Oh, I don't even know why you asked that question today, but Dylan's response made it worth it. But yeah, that's a whole. I'm gonna bring that up on After 9 this weekend because there's so much wrong with that statement. But we'll ask the other people. And just apparently, if Madison just met a different person on account, the same as Taylor's, you wouldn't be married to her. But you know,
Hey, that's the universe, multiverses. That's how it works.
that's the multiverses, and that is this review for Miss Marvel. We will be back with the MCU content next week for Comic-Con, but then more specifically, I think it's August 12th for She-Hulk, and I promise you, it'll not be boring.
Peace.